Hi, welcome to week 7. This week we're going to try to catch up from last week and cover this week, but I'm going to abbreviate it greatly for you. The information for statistics for last week is all on correlations. Correlations. How do two scores relate to one another? The two things you want to know about that, besides the formula to be able to figure it out, is you always need to know the strength and the direction. Strength will be anywhere from 0 to 1.0. The closer to 1.0 it is, the stronger the correlation. So a 0.91 correlation is very strong versus a 0.2 correlation would be weak. The other thing you need to know is the direction. If the scores move in the same direction, that is called a positive correlation. So there would be a plus sign. If the scores move in an opposite direction, that's a negative correlation. Your math and everything will figure out to a negative number. So for example, if as you get older, you have more hospitalizations, and that was a strong correlation at, say, 0.87, that would be a plus 0.87. And we would therefore know as your age increases, your number of hospitalizations increase. Now, if that was a negative correlation, maybe it would be as you get older, the number of hospitalizations decrease. And that would be the negative correlation. So that's the skinny on correlation. You need to understand strength. You need to understand direction. The formula is in the lecture. Copy the formula. Solve it step by step. All right. Now today is all about chi-square. Chi-square is, for example, a test of significance. But in this case, you're seeing if the mix of the population is different. So you're looking at the mix. So for example, some of you may have gone into Best Buy and they ask you for your zip code. Well, one reason they could do that would be if they were looking at, these have always been our customers in, say, Winter Garden, Florida, but now we sent out a special circular, and we want to see if the mix of our customers is different than it was before we sent out that advertisement. So maybe the mix would be economic mix. Maybe they're looking at those who are wealthy, those who are upper middle class, those who are middle class, those who are lower middle class, and those who are homeless. They could be looking at that or some other aspect by zip codes, making assumptions by zip codes. So you're looking at how the mix of a population changes due to an intervention. Chi-square. You're going to have what we call your observed frequency. Your observed scores are what you observed after the intervention. Your expected frequency is calculated based on your historical numbers. For example, say that you have, in the year 2000, you had 20% of the people who went into Best Buy were upper class and 40% were middle class and 20, 40, that makes 60. Another 40% were lower class. And they made these decisions based on the zip code. Then they do this flyer, and they do some other interventions. You are going to then check and see how that compares to your sample today. But instead of having 1,000 people like you did in the year 2000, now you have a sample size of 200. So you would take that percent, your historical percent, multiply it by 200, which would give you the numbers in today's language. And that would then help you figure out your expected frequency. So I have said that much because now I want you to actually go and read it. The most important thing for me is that you understand the difference between observed scores and expected and your historical. I can help you after you've got that much information. All right? Now, in terms of non-statistics knowledge, last week would have been field research. Simply read the little bit of information that you have on field research. We're going to talk about different types of observers, and there will be a question for you to answer on that. And then also in the lecture are different ways of examining things out there in the field. Think about Jane Goodall and studying the apes. That would be an example of field research. This week's research is all about evaluation research. This is usually taking studies, maybe even like the midterm. You take the Silver Sneaker program, and you are evaluating the effectiveness of the Silver Sneaker program. I have a link in the lecture or on the discussion board for you to go to a page where you can then select, find a evaluation study, read about it, and talk about it. Also look forward to looking at your exams. So if you have already submitted your exams, and 2 of you have been really great and are working on your rough drafts of your lit reviews. So I will be getting you all that feedback very shortly. Thank you, and please be in touch with any questions or concerns.